Raise and support your vehicle. Transfer case actuator motor is located here. We're going to remove the skid plate and the drive shaft to access it. Before removing the front drive shaft, mark the two components so that when we reinstall it, we can line them back up the way they came apart. Spray these bolts as best you can with some rust penetrant. Use an 11mm wrench to break these free. I'm also going to brace the drive shaft with a pry bar. Find a good spot. Now that I've broken these free with a regular wrench, I'm going to use a 11mm ratcheting wrench to speed up the process. These are pretty loose now. I'll take them out with my fingers. And place those aside so you don't lose them. Need to get the drive shaft out of the U-joint, so I'm just going to pry up on it a little bit. This one's pretty stuck. I'm going to use a large punch and a hammer to try to free it up. There it is. Just had to free it up. They get rusted together. Spray some more rust penetrant in there. There it is. Just had to work it out. So this drive shaft can actually be pushed backwards. And then we'll spin it out of the U-joint. You could take this out and lay it up here and set it aside while you're working on the transfer case. We're going to remove this completely so it's out of our way. With the drive shaft in one hand, I will take a large or a pry bar and a large flat-bladed screwdriver or a large flat-bladed screwdriver. I'm going to work it under this boot and try to push it off as I spin the drive shaft. There's a lip it has to get over. I think I've got it. Once the lip is off of there, we can slide the drive shaft out of the transfer case. Using a 15mm socket, remove the 15mm bolts holding the skid plate on. There is an electrical connector for the transfer case actuator motor on the top of the transfer case. It should be clipped in. Our clip has actually broken, so I can move the connector down. I'm going to push this to unlock it. Pull it apart. Remove the three 15mm bolts holding the actuator in. You may need to use different length extensions with your 15mm socket to reach all the bolts. That one came out. Just had to tug on that one a little bit. Now we just need to maneuver this out. It lifts off the transfer case and we pull it down. I'm gonna wipe the area where the transfer case went. Make sure it's clean of all dirt. If you did not put the transfer case in neutral before going underneath the vehicle, now would be the time to put it in neutral. So the drive shaft here is locked. The truck's in two-wheel drive. If you reach up to this little actuator, there's a keyway that should be facing the ground or parallel with the ground, and that will be in neutral. So we're gonna turn it just counterclockwise. Very easy to turn with my fingers. So now this keyway is facing the bottom, and this drive shaft will spin freely. The transfer case is in neutral. The new actuator motor is set up to start in neutral, so it will line up with the 3 holes and the keyway with the transfer case in neutral when you install it. This is our old transfer case actuator motor. It has a gasket on it. We can reuse this gasket. We're gonna clean it up. It just pulls off. I'll put that aside for now. As you can see, compared to the new transfer case actuator motor from 1AAuto.com, they are identical. Same style connector, same 3 mounting holes, same motor. Over here in the new part, it ships with this plastic piece in here to lock it in place. You want to remove that before you install it. Now this keyway that's in here and the keyway that's in the new one is in a little bit different position. The new one should be already set up in neutral. That's why we set our transfer case to neutral. So this part looks really good. It'll bolt up and work great for us. I'm just gonna use some glass cleaner, clean up our gasket. Install our gasket onto the new actuator motor. Figure out the way it lines up. When reinstalling the actuator motor for the transfer case, there's a dowel pin at the top. I've placed a little bit of grease over it, but just make sure that you slide the top hole on the actuator motor over the dowel pin when installing it. Slide this up in position. Move some stuff around the connector. Try to keep the gasket in place. Basically just feel around till it gets over the keyway and the dowel. It should slide on there with not much resistance. Start reinstalling the top bolt. Get the bottom bolt captured. Got my 15mm socket and ratchet. Start by tightening the top bolt first. Bring this bolt down just so it's tight. We will torque these at the very end. Tighten the bottom bolt. Tighten the middle one until it stops. Torque these to 15 foot-pounds. Torque the bottom one and the middle one. Reconnect the electrical connector. We've got our body side connector here. We've got a connector on the actuator motor. Plug them together. Make sure they were locked. So our new connector comes with a new push lock tab to hold it in place. The old one has broken off. It's up here on a little bracket in the top of the transfer case. I'm gonna take some side cutting pliers and just cut it out of there and stick our new connector back where it belongs. So I just cut it off with some side cutting pliers and the other bit fell off. Take our new one, push it up. Clip it right back in the harness holder where it's supposed to go. Reinstall the skid plate. And you get all the bolts caught. I take the 15mm socket extension, tighten these down. So we're going to line up our match marks that we made earlier. This one here, this one here. But first, I'm going to slide it up over the cross member. Guide the drive shaft into the transfer case. You can line up the splines, it'll slide right in. Push it in, push the boot over. It'll go into the little channel, the lock. That's secure there. Now we can go back up, put it into our front drive shaft, into the differential. You may need to spin this around, but just be aware that we need to match up our lines that we made before. Let's see if I can get this in here. This actually has a little bit of play. You can go backwards a bit. Just like this. Just kind of move the U-joint around. Okay, so over here now we've got our match marks from the same spot. So I'm going to pull the drive shaft out and seat it into the little U-joint cups. Reinstall our bolts and the brackets that hold the U-joint on. Brace the drive shaft with a pry bar. Torque these bolts to 19 foot-pounds. Drive shaft is reinstalled. After you've installed the new actuator motor, the transfer case will be in neutral. You can see the red LED is lit up. So I'm gonna put my foot on the brake. I'm gonna shift it to neutral in the transmission, and hit the two-wheel drive actuator button. And you hear the transfer case motor engages into two-wheel drive mode. I put it back in park. And shut the ignition off. And if you start the truck back up, so the truck is now in two-wheel drive. And then we hit this, we'll go to 4 high. I'll go to 4 low. Or we can use auto. Or just two-wheel drive.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.